good morning, folks, and fellow Y lovers. I've been recruited to share my Y story. Now, you have to understand, I'm going to be 80 years old. And my Y story begins 55 years ago when we moved to this community. So we're not going to cover it all in one time because there's much to tell. Okay. The Y story is I'm in the locker room going to Kent State University and using the nursery center for my 6-week-old child to be 6 weeks as he grows into 2s and 3s in the nursery so that I can get some exercise. Then I leave him in the nursery for an extra hour and I do my study in the chapel, which no longer is. We use it for nursery care. And then I managed to graduate from Kent State University with honors because the Y gave me some time to do that. So I thank the Y gratefully for that, and it's just a little thing that the Y has done. Okay, my Y story is that my mother lived with me for 23 years, and the last 10 years she was in a wheelchair, and I have decided that is not going to be my fate. She died at 84. I'm 79. I am not in a wheelchair, and so I'm very happy for that. Now my son has gone through all of the Y youth programs, the swimming programs, the basketball, the soccer, the baseball, whatever was there, he did. When he got into the Marines, and now that he's 52 years old, you know, a mother of a 52-year-old, he's 52 years old, and he told me when he was in the Marines and in the Army, all of the things that he learned in the Y helped him get through all of his trainings, and he excelled at everything. Now, the real reason, though, that we live where we do and that we're a member of the Y is because of my husband, who is now 92, and I'm taking care of him. He exercised all the time when we were living in Erie, and we moved to Ashtabula for his job. He was a parole officer, and he insisted on exercising. Well, I was not intending to have a man drive a half hour to the Y and a half hour back and not have that hour of life. So that's why we live close to the Y, and we bought a Y membership within a month of moving into town, and he has used that membership until his health is so that he cannot use it. And he keeps saying he's going to come back, and we keep saying, well, you can if you want to. Maybe they'll have a building on one floor and you won't have to do the stairs. So that's pretty much my personal story. But there's the other side of it. When I was in that locker room with Des Morrow, who was a darling person, exercising, minding my own business, just talking like we talk in the locker room. She is recruiting me to go be on the board, and I said, I can't. I've got a baby at home. I'm remodeling my house, and I'm working on a full-time at Kent State University towards a degree. And she says, okay, when you're done, you can come on the board. Now, this is the time when the YMCA was a two-pronged operation. It was a YWCA and a YMCA. They each had boards, then they had a separate, from that board, the managing board. It was a tangled web to deal with and try to get anything done. So, fortunately or unfortunately, I made the dean's list all the time, and so my name was in the paper. And Des, who read the paper religiously and paid attention to everything, kept commenting on that and said, don't forget you promised. I'll tell you, I graduated in June and she recruited me in July, if that's the way it was, or within a month of graduation I was recruited. And because of all the work you do for college, I had a few extra hours that I didn't know I had, okay? So I just dumped into the Y. And my Y history, and I looked it up, is almost 25 years of board experience. We went through the process of divesting ourselves from the YWCA because we were paying 2 tiers of money forward to the national organizations, legally getting that, reorganizing the board, writing constitutions, all of those kinds of things that you have to do to have a platform to do the job. I ended up spending almost 25 years doing it, and I'm responsible partly, mostly, in a little way, for the foam rubber on the floor that was a running track now that has all your beautiful machines. And by the way, we were the first people who bought those machines that they finally got rid of and got good ones for you. Yay, yay, yay. I'm also responsible for the racquetball courts. And we did not have enough clout with CDC to get the racquetballs paid for. So in order to have them, and we needed them in order to stay in business because, folks, it was really tough, we borrowed money. And I stayed on the board until the director and I paid that mortgage off within 5 years of that one. And we actually burned it. And in retrospect, I think that probably wasn't a good idea. We should have kept a copy of it. And maybe he did, I don't know. But I think that's kind of a funny story. But I have been involved all that time and met some many wonderful people. And I think why that is my story, but why the war, why is important, is it because it intimately affects individuals in their life path. The kid that learns to swim at a very young age and doesn't drown in Lake Erie, okay? The family that has the little bit of babysitting so mom can come and exercise and not go crazy taking care of kids. The kids learning to play together in a sports program that is competitive but non-competitive at the same time. And not only that, all of these board members that get leadership training that go into our community and can do things and make it grow and be a better place. The Y, as its charter, can do almost anything it wants. So the Y can be very responsive to what the community needs. And so the community, you who are supporters of the Y, you are the community who can decide what the Y does. If we have a homeless problem, you probably could help solve it in some peripheral way, because after all, part of the Y in the early days, the immigrants came into the country. Many of them came from good families and needed safe housing, and the Y provided that for a long period of time. So, good things can happen, but good people have to step forward, take up the mantle, and carry it forward. And I trust that you can do that.